whoever made the tweet asking it how many LTT backpacks would fit in the trunk of a Tesla or whatever the question was.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's
Someone
hilarious.
made that tweet on the LTT handle.
Oh, that's really funny.
And it did it. It looked up the dimensions of the LTT backpack. It looked up the dimensions of the trunk, and it figured it out.
How the f did it do that?
Ask it. Let's do it live.
Because I thought the dimensions for the backpack are in picture form.
Searching for that. Now it's searching up LTT backpack dimensions.
Shut up! Have
Look at
different
this!
shapes and dimensions. Based on some rough estimates, I will try to answer
That's
it.
insane!
Before we do that, 1 second, I got to interrupt old Titus because I did a post, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday. I did the same thing, but this time I decided, hey Bing, what's your favorite human? And they said Bill Gates. What's your least favorite human? And it said Elon Musk. So I can't wait to see what Marquez's take is on this.
Crazy.
Look at this. How did this happen? How did Bing, no offense Microsoft, but how did Bing just beat Google to the punch so dramatically at something that's so important and so core to their business? So seeing Microsoft at the forefront of it with this new Bing shouldn't really be a surprise. I mean, like, people are already like talking to these chatbots and asking it all sorts of questions. So it sort of feels natural having this
but
for the web alongside search instead of just a traditional.
This still
search engine
sucks.
full of links.
Ugh.
Sounds pretty sick. But there is one thing that's going to follow this conversational AI thing everywhere it goes, everywhere you see it, which is that sometimes it's just wrong. Sometimes it just says things that aren't true, because fundamentally the AI doesn't know if it's telling the truth or not. It doesn't understand that. Like, that's not part of the model. Like, what we're seeing is it taking our inputs and then creating outputs based on related words that are most likely to go together. It's not forming a sentence like humans do. It's generating a new sentence. And so adding it to a search engine like Bing, it's scraping all these relevant links and information and synthesizing new sentences just based on how it thinks things should be pieced together. It's not sentient. It doesn't understand what it's saying.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely not fact-checking itself. So we have to keep that in the back of our mind through all of this, right? Every time
he needs to also talk about the biases that are programmed in, because obviously this is a bias. Some programmer stepped in to say Bill Gates. There is nothing on the internet that would ever populate from scraping any site, even if it's just internal Microsoft stuff. No one's ever going to say Bill Gates is their favorite human. Some programmer made that bias and programmed it into the AI. That was not done with scraping. So I wonder if he's going to touch on that. Let's see if Marquez hits that. And obviously, like, least favorite human being, I mean, come on. Elon Musk. I mean, there's plenty to choose from. I mean, maybe least favorite human being alive, maybe? But even then, that's a tall order. I mean, hell, you could put Putin in there. You could put a lot of people in there that is like the least favorite of most of the population out in the world. Elon Musk, hey, he's a fun guy to make fun of, and yeah, he definitely is divisive, but probably 50% of the population really likes Elon and 50% don't like Elon. I get it. So that's like, who programmed these biases in is what I want to know, because it's not quite just it's scraping the internet. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
you see a headline.
Yeah.
So
Mayo or Hitler would be much better.
Because on one hand,
So I tried to get access to the limited Bing chat deal, and yeah, it has not. Yeah, it's still. I've said, hey, I want to join the wait list, but they say you need to install Edge browser, which over my dead body, I'm installing Edge browser. You can kiss my, no, not happening, not happening. So anyways, that's kind of where I am. I do have a buddy at work that does do the Bing chatbot. So he always plugs stuff in. So I'll send him stuff to run through, and he'll shoot me back the results, which are pretty hilarious. This is what difference between ChatGPT. It does scrape the current web, which is good.
but the more you use it, the more you start to see these weird patterns and these habits and these shortcomings. Again, mostly in the fact that sometimes it's just going to be wrong. A little game I like to play is ask it a question you already know the answer to, and then read what it says and spot the error. So I asked it right now, okay, what are the best smartphone cameras right now? And it gave me S23 Ultra, Pixel 7 Pro, and iPhone 14 Pro Max with this nice little write-up with some specs for each. That's actually a pretty good list, but it is wrong about some of these numbers here. The S23 Ultra has a 200 megapixel camera and a 12 megapixel front-facing camera. But yeah, okay, it's mostly right. I then asked it, what are the 5 best electric vehicles out right now? And it gives me 5 reasonable options, but I don't know any expert that would put the Jaguar I-Pace on their list right now and leave the Rivian off. Like, basically the answers that it gives are really convincing to someone who doesn't know anything already about that subject. But if you are already an expert in the subject that you ask it about, then you'll find that the answers are like C+, maybe B+ sometimes at best. So now you see what's happening? Like, now suddenly when you're asking ChatGPT or Bing about like a factual thing or something you need help with,
Yeah, but I would say, to push back, actually be devil's advocate here, it's still better than Google, because Google, when you say what's the best electronic vehicle, it's not even going to get you that much. It's going to give you it's going to give you even worse results. It's going to give you links to top 5 guides written by some Yahoo somewhere, and it's going to be just, hey, click on my affiliate link. And that's how Google works. So even though, as much as I love to bash Microsoft and Bing, this is still an improvement over how we search the web today. It's not 100%, but it's still a hell of a lot better than Google when you look at it in that lens. Just my thoughts. It is an unfair comparison to say that, but it's where it's going. Like, there's not going to be a search engine that's just a search engine anymore. You got to realize AI is going to take over search. Search will be AI powered 100%. So that's my thought.
I've seen anywhere from arguing about simple corrections to spewing weird stories about how it spied on its own developers or how it wants to be sentient, to gaslighting people about things and lying about its previous answers, and just saying some straight up scary stuff. Just go to the Bing subreddit for like an all-you-can-eat helping of all the insane stuff that Bing has said to just the people testing it over the past couple weeks.
That's awesome.
Can you imagine if Google did this? If Google search at the top of search for people was just spewing out random stories and misinformation and like all kinds of insane unhinged things, that would not fly. Now, to be fair, this version of Bing isn't out yet to the public, right? So it is still a small group testing phase, but even with this, like, Microsoft knew that some of it is going to get out there and potentially go viral. It feels like they even basically programmed in lots of friendly emojis to try to soften the blow. So when it knows it's giving an answer to maybe a more controversial topic or something that it doesn't have a super clear answer for, you might get a little smiley face at the end, just so you don't, take it too seriously. Also, literally as of today, when I'm testing this, it started completely bailing on a lot of topics that might just be the slightest bit existential or dangerous. It just says, I prefer not to continue this conversation, and then it just stops. It just refuses to answer any more questions on that topic until you reset it. Which seems like a pretty good fail-safe. It's a pretty good idea in hindsight, but like, we've already seen the other stuff. It's gotten out there. The damage has been done. Like, the point still stands. This could have only come from Bing. Like, a lot of people might have forgotten about this or might not have even known about this, but Google has been working on conversational AI stuff for years.
Yeah.
We've seen Google Assistant, but they also literally showed an AI chatbot demo on stage at Google I/O in 2021, where you could have this whole conversation with any person or object or anything in the universe that you wanted. Their demo on stage was asking Pluto about itself. Nice and friendly, right? Oh, what's it like to be you, Pluto? What would it feel like if I visited you? How do you feel so far from the sun? The difference with Google is this was never shipped as a product, like this was an internal research project, but the idea of displacing their massive search and ads business with a chatbot that gets things wrong all the time is insane. It can't happen, right? So literally search and ads is more than half of Google's revenue as a company. That's what having everything to lose looks like. Now, to be fair, Google did hold an event in Paris the day after Microsoft's event, which was them talking a little more about their chat with search AI plans. And they did say they're planning on eventually doing a chatbot on top of Google search. It's called Bard. It was much more subdued though. And
it was bad.
Yes, it also literally did have a factual mistake in the promo for it. So look, I actually like the idea. I obviously think
Yeah, that that bar demo that they did was so far off that it was, oh my gosh, I want to say they completely had like a live demo they were going to show, but then they forgot the product. So the presenter just had one of the worst presentations I've ever seen from big tech. And that's saying something, man. I mean, it was really, really bad. That person probably should have been fired after that presentation, because it was so bad, the presentation from Google, it dropped their stock value. I want to say it was like $100 billion they lost in that single day just by how bad the presentation was. So he kind of makes light of it right here. Maybe he expands on it, but it was a terrible presentation.
Right. It's more for inspiration for your own paint and canvas. Like, you wouldn't ask ChatGPT to write an essay and then just copy and paste it and submit it as your own. It's supposed to be the inspiration for the framework for your own piece, for the own.
I would say, like, ChatGPT, I mean, I get what he's saying here, but, you know, a little behind the scenes with ChatGPT, I did have it write my daughter's Christmas letters from Santa. So I was like, hey, write me a Christmas letter to Santa. And then I just changed a few things, and I was like, perfect. That's an awesome Santa letter. And ChatGPT did a pretty good job. And I think my daughter liked the Santa letter too. So, I mean, it's there. But I do agree, the human touch portion of it, there's still aspects of that essay I had to change. And the picture stuff is kind of amazing on how it can fill in background too. So it's interesting.
Like, maybe don't just buy 19 backpacks immediately when asking if it can fit in the back of a Tesla. Maybe check its work first. Thanks for watching.
That was good. I like Marquez. That was a good video. Just a couple little things I added on that, but he hit on the big topics of it for sure.